Well, I remember trick-or-treating in the dark for hours with my friends, fearing only mythical ghosts and goblins. Many young people today have to live with the reality of violence in an unsettling world. As our world becomes bigger in scope, sometimes our lives and the way we extend ourselves to the people around us becomes smaller, to the point where we no longer reach out to the others around us, but rather close ourselves off. What you're about to experience is the exciting and personally revealing journey of 25 young Americans from 5 high schools who ventured out to the faraway country of Singapore as student ambassadors. They have won this opportunity through vigorous academic competition. Our cameras followed them and captured unscripted moments that tell an enlightening story about the intelligence and integrity of the young people who represent our future. Come along for the ride as we begin with the finals of the competition and the announcement of the winning teams.
It has often been compared to the head of an elephant with its trunk extending down the Malay Peninsula. Name the ASEAN country and also give its former name.
The country is Thailand and its former name is Siam.
That is correct. Geographically speaking, what areas does Malaysia occupy?
The Malaysian Peninsula and the island of Borneo.
Not correct.
Brunei Shell Petroleum in Brunei and Pertamina in Indonesia.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
The names of the winning teams are Eola High,
Ayala was built in a new community, and we have a very diverse population. I think that we probably have the major ethnic groups represented on campus.
We got to become very close. And that was something that was very important to our teacher, too, because she wanted us to look like a team. So she really stressed that point that we need to work together, because if we didn't, she didn't think we'd have a chance of winning.
California Academy of Math and Science.
The California Academy of Mathematics and Science is an experimental public school that tries to target underrepresented minorities and females into technical, engineering, medical careers. And because we have an application process for our students, they tend to be very motivated because they have to want to come there.
There's an essay due at the end, too. Now, my class, culture, social studies. Sunny Hills High School.
On the surface, Sunny Hills is a rather typical high school. Many of the students come from homes where education is highly respected, highly desired, and is put high on parents' priorities.
You know, the only thing I think the thing that cost us 7.5 points was when you added that it was an alliance. Yeah, because I thought you did a great job, you know, before that.
I knew we'd win because all the people in our group, they were very academic in a silent way. And they really knew how to write and knew how to learn and really knew how to compete.
Harvard Westlake.
We have a very selective and competitive process for students entering the school. And the students are very interested in high education, and they're involved in sports and extracurricular activities, and they're a large percent of them, just about 100% will always go on to major colleges or universities throughout the United States.
You guys, all the Sunday afternoons for the last 6 weeks paid off for you, all the hard work you did.
Most people never leave maybe even their state, much less their country. And they never, and although some people living in cities, like I do, get exposure to other types of people, other colors and stuff, getting to go to another land is important.
Carlsbad High School.
I feel that what we basically teach the students in school are just the basic tools, and that the world and the people and the technology will be completely changed by the time they're out of school. So this looked like a new format for them, something different. And so I approached the school about sponsoring a team to enter this competition.
3 days before the competition, we stayed together 6 hours a day. And we just studied, and like we were just talking and everything, just about ourselves. We learned a lot about ourselves and everything. Like sometimes if we have a problem or something, we talk about it and everything. So it's like a support group, in other words, friends, and just like we're really close, like brothers and sisters.
I wanted to open up their minds to a new way of learning and new subjects to learn about. And of course, they had the ultimate field trip as their goal.
What did you think now that we won and we're going to Singapore? Think of all those nights we were studying around the table. Did you think we would be going to Singapore? No. Woo!
Getting to know some of the students on a one-to-one basis, we found a diverse mix of goals and family settings.
My hopes of going to Singapore are, to definitely meet other friends and to have a lot more closer friends, especially in music.
Andrew Liu's really quite a remarkable young man. He's got fantastic musical talent. He is a very unassuming fellow, but he's one that there's a lot more there than first meets the eye. When he sits down at the keyboard, you know it.
Music to me is basically second. God is number one, and pretty much the church and my family is number one. And then music takes a very important role after that and shapes everything I do and everything I feel.
Andy is just the regular kids like the other kids, but I find out he is a person so hard to give up. He got the very good, strong personality. He does things consistent, and for I know, he never to give up anything if he wants to do it.
You have to think of how am I going to survive in this world. See, my family, if you graduate from college, some of the attitudes are, if you graduate, you can do anything you want after that because you've been successful and you can be able to you can survive in this world.
For the Chinese, the children is the parents' life. I think it's more hard for the children than the parents. Because the children, they are living with the American children together, and they will feel why my parents wanted to do the different things from whatever the other children they're doing.
My mom will force me out of some careers because she wants me to live well, and I respect that. And even though I'm not going to be allowed to do some careers, she's going to make me survive.
Rita Patel wears modern clothes and everything, so you don't see sometimes that her ethnic background really does affect her an awful lot in her value system. She knows how to fix some of the dishes. Her mom has taught her that, the traditional food dishes.
Here, I'll stir that and you can do that.
You guys did very good,
It's a very close family, but yet they maintain that feeling of the Indian lifestyle at home.
Keeping my culture over here it's sort of difficult to a point. My parents try their best to keep us into the culture, into all the activities. We have these Indian functions that we go to, but it is hard because you're away from it all. You experience life over here 2 different ways. Indian way of life is very different from American way of life. I speak 2 forms of Indian language, the national language, Hindi, and I speak Gujarati. That's the first language I learned, and then I learned English. English was my second language. Me and my mom have a lot of barriers. I love the culture. That's for a fact, I love it, but I don't necessarily like some of their views. They're more into the more conservative, more not really open, more really towards the traditional. I'm more open-minded and I like trying new things. So I say I'm pretty different from my mom.
Ethan is quiet. He's a deep thinker. He's got a twinkle in his eye and a great smile.
I'm down for prayer. Dinner's ready.
Grateful for the prosperity that we've had. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
I like to get to know people, to get to know a lot of them and to figure out what they think and how they relate to themselves to the world and take that into account in my life and be able to adjust myself or not, adjust my beliefs according to theirs.
Ethan is the 7th of our 10 children, born in the bicentennial year of our country. We named him after his great-great-grandfather, Ethan Allen Cook, which we thought was appropriate to give him family roots, and also it tied into his country. We hope that Ethan will grow up and be a statesman someday, that he will have the courage to speak out for the things that he believes in, and be a defender of truth and right.
My approach to my family is to try to teach them some of the basic principles of human relations and moral standards and so on. And hopefully they'll be able to run their own lives based on those principles.
I could drop Mormonism if I wanted to. My parents couldn't really force me to be Mormon. So it's my religion. I've chosen it. It's my own, my choice.
Mei Tang is one of those interesting students that the more you know about her, the more, I think, diversified this young lady is.
My dad's from Hong Kong and my mom's from China. When I go to Singapore, I know like a majority of the population is Chinese, but they speak a different type of Chinese. They speak Mandarin, and I speak Cantonese, so it's a little bit different.
Atsushi Kawamoto is a student that I really didn't know until we started this competition. And after we got into the competition and started preparing the essay portion to be written, he and one other person on the team were largely responsible for getting the essay underway.
Of all the places that I've lived, I never thought I'd come back to Singapore, I wanted to go back to see Washington State or New Jersey. And then this ambassadors program, like when I heard about it, the first thing I could think of was going back just to see where I was born and stuff. It's really neat.
The first look at Singapore is a visual treat. The city is a strong blend of East and West, where Chinese, Malays, Indians, and Eurasians all live together harmoniously. A mixture of modern buildings and government housing dominates a large part of the city, but a short distance away, older districts reflecting ethnic architecture, arts, and cultures fill the countryside. During the 9-day visit, we followed our students as they had the opportunity to walk the streets, to feel the intensity of a totally different lifestyle, and to see firsthand what they studied in school. HDB stands for Housing Development Board. Singaporeans apply here for government housing. 87% of the total population lives this way, in large high-rise buildings called housing estates. There was an opportunity to look, listen, compare lifestyles, and ask questions.
What percentage of the flats on Singapore do you produce compared to the privately owned companies?
We are building about 20,000 units per year. The government, the private is in the region of maybe 3,000 to 4,000. But they are catering to different needs. I mean, their selling price is about maybe three times or 4 times of ours. Yeah.
In America, a lot of Americans would object to a government housing program like this, housing almost all of the people, because we associate government-funded things with corruption and waste, and just a lot of money going down the drain.
I believe that if it's run just as efficiently as ours, I think your people will love it. We'll just support it. I believe so.
The government is very proud of the success of this program, and our Singapore hosts arranged a site visit to a housing center. A bonus of this visit was the chance for May Tang to try her Chinese on the lady of the house.
女還是仔？女同仔咯。哦，一齊啊！5個人住啦，5個人住，幾多人住一個房啊？我同我先生。
Another bonus of the trip was enjoyed by Atsushi Kamamoto as he and a fellow student ambassador took a sentimental journey to look for the hospital where he was born. Even though he appeared without an appointment, a friendly nun showed him the nursery area. With only pictures and an address for reference, the next stop for Atsushi was the neighborhood where he spent his early years in Singapore.
Oh, dude. 93?
Does this look like the way it was?
Oh, yeah. It's in the pictures, huh? It's kind of amazing because I don't remember anything about it, and like, it's just all I've ever done is seen it in the pictures, and it's really a good feeling, I guess.
Meeting new people, visiting new places, enjoying the smells and sounds of Singapore. Pretty heady stuff for our travelers, but they were up for it, and they also managed to keep a good sense of humor and have a lot of fun.
Hey, my name is Jason Falk. I go to Carlsbad High. I'm the one you'll always find wearing a tie.
That's right. You got to live up to that now.
Hello, my name is Priya Sundaresan, and I like having fun, and I just want all of us to get to know each other better, and don't be shy. Everyone just come out there and let's talk and be good friends, okay?
I'm Ethan Pemberton. I'm also from Carlsbad, and I'm open to suggestion.
My name is Claudel Gaswico, and from Ayala. And let's see, I want to do everything, spend my parents' money, and want to be friends with all of you guys here.
My name is Masioka. I go to Harvard Westlake too. I'm a senior, although I look like a freshman. And yeah, let's get to know each other. We have a week.
My name's Dan Lyons. I go to the California Asylum for Masochists and Sadists. And I'd like to get to know all of you really, really well and have fun on this trip.
My name is Sophia Lau, and I go to Sunny Hills High School, and I think it's really neat these cameras are following us everywhere.
My name's Sandy Elliott, and I am the teacher from the Mathematics and Science Academy. And I'm proud of all of you. I'm not proud of just my own kids, but I'm proud of all of you because I know how much work you all did. But most of all, I hope that I survive whatever my team has planned.
Stop it! He's slimy and I'm all wet. Then they fold it into a square and they fluff it out.
Ollie, what do you think of this shirt?
One hand. I don't know how to do it. One hand. One hand? Yeah, it's easier this way. No.
Sir Stamford Raffles, a British East India Company official, is credited with first recognizing the economic potential in Singapore. As a result, the name Raffles is everywhere in the city. And it was at Raffles Junior College where our American students first had contact with Asian students their age. Singaporeans dressed in crisp green and white uniforms gave a warm and welcoming greeting.
But we had to try. No need to hide, no need to run, 'cause all the answers come one by one. The dream will never be over, because we're keeping the dream alive. I need you, I love you.
On behalf of Raffles Junior College, I would like to welcome you to Singapore and to RJC, and we hope that during your 2-day stay here, you'll find it fruitful and enjoyable. It is my pleasure to invite our principal, Mr. Lee Fong Sing, to give you an introduction to the education system in Singapore.
The junior college, although we are 2 years, we have a very large population. We take in around 800 students a year, and it's only a 2-year system. So if you can see, if it's 800 students, then the total population will come to about 1,005, 1,006, depending on how many you have for the year. Every one of our students is just like one of you. Okay? So they have a lot of opportunity to interact, learn as much as you can from them, and I hope they learn as much from you as they can too.
And learn they did, finding out that music and language could serve as a common denominator in getting to know each other.
Okay, before we begin, we would like to tell you that we are not called the a cappella singers, we are called Punch, perfectly united in a neurotic and horny and hopefully harmonious way. We are part of the choir. I'll just leave it at that because they may not be too happy to know that we're part of the choir. And we hope you'll be entertained by the sounds, and we hope you don't mind if we break down halfway and collapse in laughter.
1, 2, 3, 4. Turn up, sweet sound. Hold me close, never let me go. Keep this feeling alive, make me lose control. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Turn the radio up for the sweet sound. Hold me close, never let me go. Keep this feeling alive, make me lose control.
2, 3, 4.
Turn the radio up for the sweet sound. Hold me close, never let me go. Keep this feeling alive, make me lose control.
Turn the radio up.
Okay, thank you.
And when you have your own solo, when he's not singing, when he's not taking the spotlight, you can take the spotlight, and then you can just go anything, and just take the scale. It's really easy. If you don't want to look at the chords, I can't read chords very well either, but I just take the scale that the chord's in, and then I see what the flat's in, you know, and then you can just play. Like if you're playing like the just play it's F, right? Just take this B flat. That's all you have to remember. Just don't play a B natural, and just go. An E flat, like that.
You take turns playing solos while everybody else plays background, and during your solo, like if you all want to like go in C minor, which is like classical name, and then there's different like, there's the normal, but like jazz, there's the Dorian or the blues. Lots of people like music that they can walk out of the door humming the melody to, and then jazz is just totally crazy. So people walk out going, wait, what was that again? Many people appreciate it, but some people don't enjoy it, listening to it. But it's fun to play.
1, 2, ready, go.
love, girl. It's true. Girl, you know it's true. Girl. I love you.
Oh yeah, I was thinking, girl, I can't explain. My emotions start up when I hear your name. I hear a sweet, sweet voice. Just ring in my ear, and I'm playing my sister when you on you. It's a positive emotion of making it joy. Ain't no need to blush, just like a girl and a boy. These feelings I keep, I've been wondering why. So I thought I might discuss, girl, just you and I. Know what you wear, I don't care how you fuss before. The reason that I like you, girl, is just for what you are. If I say I'll think about it, you rule my world, try to understand.
Girl, you know it's true.
Girl.
I love you. Yes, you know it's true. I love you.
Raffles students and our American ambassadors exchanged views in an energetic debate. The lecture hall, full of bright faces, was alive with earnest opinions and good humor.
When I got news that you're going to have ambassadors to Singapore from US, I did have certain notions of what they would be like, you know, and I'm sure many Singaporeans do have certain stereotypes of people from different nations, different cultures. So perhaps what we could do now is exchange these views and perhaps prove them wrong.
At our school, we talk a lot about abortion, men versus women, or like the role of women in society, because that's really important to a lot of girls at our school. You know, what role do we play in society these days?
A lot of women are being more highly educated now. They don't have to get married to get somebody to be their meal ticket anymore. And well, looking at the Singapore men nowadays, right? I mean, why tie yourself down in the first place? I mean, seriously. Let me finish. If you were to get married, you see the average working woman in Singapore, she has a house. She has to help her husband pay for the house, the CPF. She has to help with the running expenses. She works. She has children. Women play the main role in the domestic part. You see, they're the mothers, they're chauffeurs. I mean, they're everything to their children. I mean, not everything, but 3/4, let's say 7%. And they have, in addition to that, they have the wives and successful working women. I mean, it's a really raw deal. Why not? Why get married?
Do you feel a lot of pressure to get married and not become career-oriented?
And you get pressure from both sides. You're expected to go out and work. You're expected to excel, just like, I mean, we are feeling the pressure here in school just as much as the guys are. And in future, we will be faced with problems of handling the kids, whereas the males at our age don't really think of, you know, playing a very fatherly role.
They work, they come home, they clean the house, they cook dinner, they take care of the family. You know, and I see that when I grow up, because I want to have a family, and yet I want to have a career, because, you know, why am I studying so hard? Why am I trying to excel if I'm not going to do anything with it, right? So then, you know, I see that when I grow up, I'm going to have to take care of my children because I love them dearly and I will love them dearly when I have them, and yet I want to succeed. And, you know, I see that men need to change more. They need to help a little more. I mean, my dad helps a lot, so, you know, it works fine in our family, but I know lots of men who just don't do anything, and that's not going to work. And especially I see the women get the brunt of it all because if a child turns out wrong, who do they blame? They blame the mother because the mother has the most influence. And that's true, they do have the most influence, but it should be changing. It should be 50-50 in everything, you know? Men should help, you know, clean. I mean, it's not that hard. It doesn't take brains to do it, you know, right? They can do it.
I'm changed. You guys can work. I'll stay home and drink the beer.
I think another one of our big problems in the U.S. is the factor of divorce. People, you know, not to offend anybody or anything, but a lot of people don't seem to take marriage quite as seriously anymore. They figure, well, if it doesn't work out, then, you know, there's always others. I don't know, just, you know, by your way of society and stuff, do you guys have that problem too?
It's a family thing, it's not just...
Yeah, it's not just two people, it's like
your
entire clan, you know, your whole family.
Married to a clan,
yeah, your uncle, your grandfather, they all come for your wedding, then they shake your hand and all that pressure is on you to stay together.
If you were to divorce, right, then there will involve a lot of complications as to who gets the house because you both co-sign for it, and a lot of things like that. So we're not encouraged to, I mean, it's a lot of problems untying the knot, so maybe that helps why we don't have so many divorces.
I would argue that the reason divorce is more prevalent in America is because, like we were talking about earlier,
that there is less of a sense of individual responsibility to commitment or to make something last, and that people tend to act less, or people tend to act more without thinking. And I think that would be one aspect of American society that's different from Singapore.
Most of us have this idea that the basic difference between the family unit here in Asian society and that in the United States or the UK, for example, would be that it stems off from your society being more individualistic. And I mean, I think your parents, I don't know whether it's a generalization, but they tend to be more independent, and like you say, yeah, fine, you can move out and we'll stay, we'll find our own house, whereas over here it is expected. Filial piety is expected, and if you don't show that, the whole society frowns upon you.
The difference between East and West is the Asian people, I think their sense of family is that your parents take care of you, and when they're old, you take care of them. On the other hand, I don't like to say the white population, but the American view is that, I mean, the parents, after they get old and they finally send you off to college, they don't want to live with you. I mean, they form separate communities. And Asian people who still, maintain their Asian identity as Americans, they do think like the Singaporeans. I mean, I fully intend to take care of my parents after, they're old.
AIDS is a really big problem for you all, which it isn't for us, and, well, it isn't for us yet mainly, and one of the reasons why I feel is because we're so conventional. Celibacy is in for us, you see, and don't you think, in a way, that if your freedom was restricted in that way, if promiscuity was less in, right, would you think you would have this problem, AIDS?
I think the real question is, should the government try to change our attitude and make people either have less sex, or force them, I mean, you know what I'm saying, to have more government regulation in that arena. And I think that, like one big thing in public schools is whether they should distribute condoms. And I think that sort of government involvement, personally, I think is good. And I think that we have too much freedom in that respect. I don't think that you should ever have a society where sexual freedom is repressed by the government.
I was wondering what the Singaporean, well, I guess students mainly are willing to give up for their freedom. You can lose some of your excellent educational system because you'll be worried more about other things. You could also have a breakdown of like traditional family values. Would you be willing to give those up for greater freedom? And, no. Or would you think do you think that would even happen if you did have freedom?
I mean, no matter how much we might say that, yes, we want to have freedom and everything, especially the young people, but whatever it is, I think you do feel a very great sense of social responsibility, not just as a Singaporean, not just because we're small, but because I think we're Asian as a whole. Yeah. Because if you look at, if you look at China, and you look at the U.S. constantly makes protests about human rights abuses. To the U.S., these may be really infringements of human rights, but perhaps to the Asian value system, they may be infringements of human rights. But if they are for the good of society, then there can be compromises in these values. It's the entire mentality, the entire way we're brought up. The value system is that you value the whole rather than yourself. The individual can be compromised for the good of society.
Freedom, I don't know, I think freedom is a good thing, but when taken to extremes, anything can be bad. And that's one problem I think we may have, what we do have in America, is that people, let's see, I personally think that your society is a bit too far on one extreme, and our society is a bit too far on the other. You have too little liberty, we have perhaps a little bit too much.
The ultimate field trip was more than a trip to another country. It was a journey into the minds of fellow human beings.
I'm lucky to be able to know the way people think and how they act and how they talk, and to understand the differences.
I'm suddenly realizing the importance of colonization and how much of an effect it had. I didn't really know much about it, but now I realize that in Singapore, the fact that they speak English gives them an immediate advantage in the world.
I think the most amazing thing was when we went to see the Raffles Junior College students. And I completely expected them to be not out of it, but completely unaware of Western cultures and stuff like that. And then I come here and I find out they speak, their diction is just like ours. They use slang. They know more about American movies than I probably do. And it was just really neat getting to meet them because they're not, I thought they would be like totally strangers to us, and they weren't.
I really enjoyed the forum mainly because people were able to speak out their opinions clearly, and they're able to speak it out because a lot of times you talk with kids and they don't say very much. They just agree or disagree.
When I heard about meeting you guys, I mean, I hadn't read much about the students of Singapore, mostly the politics and the government. I had read about the school system, but I was wondering what you guys would be like, and I'm glad that you guys turned out as fun-loving and like having a good time as all kids should be.
My mom actually thought more than I did that you guys would be just really, really straightforward, conservative, no fooling around, no laughing, no nothing. And I'm all, well, they're teenagers, they can't be that bad, Mom.
A lot of what we receive is American in nature, especially our television, 3/4 of our programs are American in nature. So we do have formed stereotypes. So what would you like to dispel any of this for us?
We're not snobs. We don't all drive BMWs to school, and we don't all care about how we look all the time. Oh God, this big zit. Oh my God, I can't go to school forever. It's not like that. We're just like you. It's children around the world. United.
I thought the raffle students were just gonna pretty much take us to their homes, show us to their families, and just show us their stuff, and then that would be about it. We'd come back to the hotel, do whatever we did there. Instead, they took us out shopping. We had a good time. We went places where no white boy has probably gone in Singapore before, and the kids we got along really well with. I had a really great time.
Yeah, Dynasty Hotel.
Oh,
Mercedes-Benz.
But talk like an American.
Yeah, talk like an American.
Pretend you're me. Talk like I would talk.
I like the way he
talk like Dan would talk. It sounds like American accent through the nose. Oh, the nose. You get the nose right and you get your American accent.
Yeah.
The bigger your nose, the more American you sound.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
A lot of hair. Give me a little impression of what's happening. Yeah, Hegel.
Yeah.
My body does that.
No, don't get her too. It's like mango. Yeah, it's good.
There's also the African American, black, white, Jews, Hispanics, Koreans. Well, there's
name it, we've got it.
Yeah.
Nobody. Pretty much
everyone. There's not a country that we don't have somebody from.
Singapore is mostly Chinese, Indian, Malay.
They do.
Use this. You're wasting your time.
That's the cheaper version of it. That's more expensive.
So this floor is bio, downstairs is chem, upstairs is physics.
Most people nowadays are saying, hey, quit smoking, it's bad for you, it's stupid.
And all flights that go through America, you cannot smoke.
Student council. Woo! French.
Okay.
And
right now I'm studying.
good. And basketball. And basketball. Oh, you played it.
Well, no, but somehow the emphasis has shifted over to English, and a lot of us actually speak English better than we speak Chinese, which our Chinese teachers make us feel very bad about.
Hey, Joel, guys, take This guy's Malaysia's best. Don't be stupid. Malaysia's best get chosen. They've got ASEAN scholars. They sit for this big exam like they come over to study.
Are you amused by the bamboo sticks
that stick out of the HDB flat.
I want to take a picture. Over there. I want to take a picture of that. Yeah, over there, over there.
They used to complain, you know, because the water from the just
the wet is curry stains on my clothes.
You're right, wait.
Arrows, what is that? Relax my corner.
Like you don't like this color? You want me to go away? Just go at arrows.
Chill out.
No, chill out is more like relax. Relax.
No X, just a K at the back, so it's relax. Relax.
Is it good?
The students do not have an opportunity right now in their curriculum at school to learn about the Southeast Asian nations. And one of the most interesting things is that it's such a multicultural part of the world. And I see the world as one global village. So what we need to do as teachers is to help them, enable them, if you will, to open their minds and see how they're going to use the skills that they are learning in the world as it is ever changing.
It's educational. I think of myself in a better position now that I know the things that I've learned here, and I'm glad I've been here and that I've been able to learn about the cultures.
They're just exactly like us. We have the same taste. We think alike. At first, I thought they would, they'd be somewhat different than us, but we share the same quality. How different can we be?
Solid friendships were born, and our students were sent home with tears of so long, but not goodbye. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for watching. I'm Christopher Templeton for the Ultimate Field Trip.
Well, it's time to go further. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart. Yeah, it's time to go. It's late in the evening, and we've got to go. Good night, sweetheart. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. It's late in the evening, and we've got to go. Good night, sweetheart. Good.
This is bra, like, yeah, bra. It's like, what's up?
Okay.
So, or you can also use bro. Okay. Chi bra, chill out, bro. Happy trails. Guru, this is Prince State of Trails. Happy trails, goodbye, so long, farewell. You get the little hand sign, late. Guru, the Guru sign is saying this. Or there's this sign for Guru. Then there's the Guru brother.
That one I'm familiar with.
Guru brother, this is the sign for Guru brother. Okay. Stop dissing me, please leave me alone. Oh, that's cold. Or that's cold. That's weak means that's cruel or pathetic, either way, like, that's weak. Okay. Oh, it's really weak you did that. That's really cruel or, oh, he's so weak. Intense, extremely pleasurable.
Thanks.
So now you know how to use them?
Yes, and I will use them.
They're awesome.
So if somebody comes up to you with an attitude, you say, chi, brah.